easiest place to start would be like kind of just tell people where you were. I know you had an IG following, and I think you were hustling a lot organically, and just give them the setup before basically we started working together.
Okay, right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I had built up a social media following. My name is Alisha, to specifically help people with thyroid disease, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, learn how to improve their condition through natural means, nutrition, lifestyle changes, supplements. And I had, built a pretty loyal audience, and started launching programs back in 2020. And at that time, it was my first time doing online programs, and really my only option for my business because I couldn't build a brick and mortar. And it went pretty good. I was able to sell, one-to-ones, a high ticket price. I did that for a couple years. And as the market changed, and as buyer preferences and trust changed in the market, it became a little more difficult to sell my high ticket offer for one-to-one coaching. Even though I had a trusted audience, I felt that I wasn't quite able to communicate as effectively what I was offering, and the help that I heard people say that they wanted every single day. They still weren't buying into all of the resources, services, testing that I had. So I actually took a year off from scaled back on the one-to-one high ticket offer, and kind of dabbled in lower ticket costs of group coaching, because I thought maybe it's just a money thing. People, maybe I'll just sell some low ticket courses and group coaching. And that didn't sit well with me because I felt like I couldn't get the results that my clients wanted, and I couldn't fully help them to the degree I wanted to. So it went just okay. It was a year of experimentation, and I knew something had to change with my program structure, my offer, my approach. I wanted to refine it to better reflect what I had to offer, but also better serve my client. And that's when I found you, Stirling. That's when I found your very clear approach to marketing for specifically high ticket offers. So I watched one of your workshops, or attended one of your workshops, and I knew that that was a huge missing piece to offering the program of my dreams for my clients to help them achieve their goals. And I implemented everything that you taught as far as language marketing, program structure, all of that, summer of 2024, and had my highest selling or highest conversion ever at the highest price point ever.
That's awesome.
So that's how I knew that, okay, I knew my program was good. I knew my services were, what people were wanting, but I didn't know how to get from A to B and to connect the dots better for the clients I wanted to work with and the clients who wanted to work with me. So that was proof right there that it was mostly a marketing issue, which I think is pretty common.
Yeah, for sure. Can you give me, I'm still stuck on, in a good way, because I want to clarify this, because I feel like a lot of people went or have a similar trajectory. Yeah. So just to be clear, the 2020, you couldn't open a brick and mortar because of COVID, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then you said you sold some at first, but then you felt like the market shifted. Like what was your experience of that kind of shift? So I know what I believe it was, but I'm just curious what you were thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the first 2 years were going pretty, it was pretty predictable for me. Like every time I would launch, I knew I could get, the number of clients that I needed and wanted to work with. And then I also tried this hybrid approach of one-to-one and group coaching, and it did start to become overwhelming. And I found it harder to sell the one-to-one a little bit. And I was feeling a bit burnt out too, because maybe my price points were also off. So I had to get more and more clients. But yeah, I don't, other than maybe the economy, or I'm not sure exactly what shifted a lot for people to not maybe say yes as easily as they were.
Okay, that's what I figured. I just wanted to be
Yeah.
clear. Tell people, because this is what I remember the most, and my memory could be foggy, but that thing that was super cool for me to hear from you was, well, I just have this goal of 5. Like I really was it. I think it was 5. I
It was
just want
5.
5, and then you
Yeah.
came on to one of our calls, and you're like, well, I already got 5, and I think I'm going to get 9, and or whatever it was. I want to be accurate with the numbers. What
Yeah.
happened? Because that was like that gave me goosebumps, as corny as that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool. So this had been maybe at least 6 to 9 months I hadn't worked with anyone one-on-one. So I reopened doors with my newly revamped program that you helped me structure. And I had, I think, over 50 people apply, or close to 60, somewhere around there, pretty quick within the first week or two. I had 22 people actually book a call and go through a call with me. And of those 22, I had 9 people start working with me, which I easily hit the 5. And then I had one day where, there was like 4 more other people who were just like, yes, I got all these yeses in one day. And they had all been excellent clients. They were a great fit for the program. So that was, like I said, the highest conversion I had ever had for a sales call to people who actually signed on to work with me. And it felt effortless. It felt good.
That's awesome. If you don't want to share specific price points, it's okay, but I'd like to talk about at least increases, because you were saying, well, I know we raised our prices because we had the new framework to use, but what was the jump there? Or however you're comfortable saying it, because a big thing I try to explain to people, which you've heard, I've bludgeoned you to death with this, but it's not people, like, you're in a competitive market. There's basically very few niches that aren't competitive anymore. So what usually happens is people see, oh my God, there's 1,000 other Hashimoto's, people helping with Hashimoto's. I got to lower my price. So it kind of turns into this race to the bottom, where I tell people, hey, if you can communicate your value, you set yourself up, and you can not only raise your price, but people will buy into it at that price because of how well you communicate. So where were you, and where are you now, and do you have plans on going further, or what tell me what's in store?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I first started, I had 3 and 6 month options, and the price points, oh boy, if I can remember, were anywhere around 1,200 to under 3,000, maybe 1 to 2,500, 2,400, somewhere around there. And at that time, I didn't include, I've expanded, but any type of additional testing and things like that. Now I include that, but I charge like 3 to 4 times more. And that, also after the cost of testing and things like that, I still take home probably 3 times more per client. So
I did not even know that until this call. Very happy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's ridiculous in the best way. And so did you, forgive me, I can't remember. I know you were going one-to-one and you were trying to go into group, but you just said a couple of minutes ago, the first time you tried that was a little overwhelming. What did you do with the 9, and are you evolving into that group situation, or you're already there? What's happening?
Yeah, it really worked out well, because I did find that it was a bit over. I learned that my clients and the people who find me on social media, they want one-to-one. Okay. So I really just focused on, okay, well, if that's what they want, that's what I'm going to deliver at a capacity that I'm comfortable with. So I decided I will launch every couple months and take on a new group of one-to-ones. And because the price point is more aligned with my revenue goals and able to sustain my business better, I don't have to take on a ton of clients, and the option for group coaching isn't something I want to pursue anymore, because that also is trading that time for money. And I'm already trying to pour in so much to my one-to-one clients, where now I'm shifting my extra time to just courses, things that do not involve my direct coaching or direct help. So I find that that's a nice balance, because those are probably the things I enjoy the most, is course creation and content and education, and then working one-to-one very deeply with these clients to, again, make sure that they're getting the results that they signed up for.
I want to bring something up because you figured something out that a lot of people never really lock into, because there's so much there's so many quote unquote gurus that teach, oh, you got to do group, you got to maximize one to many, you got to serve as
Mhm.
condense the amount of time that you're spending to help the most amount of people ever.
Mhm.
But what they fail to tell anybody, and which I try to share with everybody, is that you really have to, there's kind of two factors in how you set up your deliverables. One is what makes sense to you, and
Mhm.
how is it best delivered to your actual clients. So you could, for example, force everyone into a group, but if they're not going to get the results that they would one-on-one, it would be a terrible business decision.
Mhm.
I'm thrilled that you kind of figured out, oh, wait a second, this doesn't actually make sense for what I do, which makes sense, especially in the wellness world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes common sense. So anybody that does happen to be listening to this, like, you build your business around how you want to show up, as well as
Mhm.
what's the best way that you can actually deliver results. And don't let people tell you that this is the way you have to do it. This is the only way, and this is the way, and this is the way. It's 1,000 ways to the mountaintop. What was I going to say? What was so? I'm reiterating or restating what you said, that you
Mhm.
found it was a marketing problem. What were some kind of ahas along the way? You were like, oh shoot, that's what wasn't working, or oh, I wish I'd known this, 2 years ago or whatever. Like, what were
Yeah.
those things? Because I would say, yeah, it's on a global scale, it's for sure marketing. But I tell people is, hey, it's a inability to communicate your value.
Mhm.
So what do you remember having any particular, I'm not fishing, if I'm just curious, if you didn't
Yeah.
stuff that you were like, oh my God, this is like a
Yeah.
no duh moment.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely did because, I'm also a thyroid patient. So I do know the problem and the help that people are seeking, the problems they want to solve very, very, very well. I mean, I could highly detail with that. So that wasn't the issue. I think something that I maybe slipped into or got in the habit of was on a call, or when I was trying to market my services or programs, I would just go through like, oh, here's all the things you get. And
Yeah.
I knew, I had been told by other coaches and stuff, like, don't do that. Make sure you talk about the transformation and this. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that. But I just don't think I ever figured out how to do it very effectively. Because it wasn't converting as well. So when I learned to better speak in the terms of the transformation that people wanted, the results they wanted, how they're going to get there, help them visualize it, it became a lot easier to, again, sell my program at a higher price point, much, much easier. And it felt much more aligned with how I could describe my approach to people and how we're going to get there and like why I'm unique in that way. And yeah, things just started to click. And it really clicked when I saw people saying yes, and signing on. I was like, okay, this there's something to this.
That's awesome. I don't want to meander too much. I guess I'm just, if there's anything else that you wanted to share, and again, I'm not fishing. I want you to feel complete. I feel like this is going to be
Mhm.
really helpful for people that are in your shoes too, who know that they can deliver results, but man, trying to explain it so somebody says, yeah, this makes sense, is like, that's kind of a big gap. So what, if there's anything else, we'll
Mhm.
we'll share it, and if not, I'll just say thanks, and I'll stop recording, and we can chit chat for a sec.
I think it's so valuable because, anyone who's positioned as like the expert, the coach, however, like they know their side of, communicating their value, but not the client side as well as they think they do. And I think it's so good to have that other perspective and think, flip that thinking, because it's very easy to get stuck in like speaking in the expert language, and that doesn't always translate very well. And the nice thing is once you learn what's going to get through to your potential clients, is like, now I know I can take, what you've taught me, and as my program changes or transforms, like I can use that same strategy and evolve it and change it, and know that it will deliver. And whether that's with language I use on social media or website or anything like that. So it's highly applicable to multiple areas, not just, selling one-to-one coaching or whatever it is. So yeah, it's like you think you know what you're doing. You learn like, oh, okay. And sometimes it's not even that big of a change, which is kind of cool. It's sometimes very simple, things to change up. And that's what ends up making it all work and fall together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll share my own. I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but somebody brought it up on the call. It's absolutely, and I fall into the same thing, right? We get our own blinders on, and we just need somebody who's not us that we trust to say, "Hey, this could be better," and it's like this one tiny thing. So my thing is called the one slide offer, and I will tell everybody that's listened this far. When I first created it, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be amazing! This is a 5-minute offer," and I couldn't get traction to save my life. And I'm like, I don't understand it. People spend hours explaining what they do, and they can do it in less than 5 minutes. This is like, what's happening? And I don't have a huge circle of people that I trust, completely. But this one person, so nonchalantly, he's like, I think you're an idiot for not calling it the one slide offer. And I was like, yeah, that, because the 5 minutes is implied in the fact that you could do it so simply. And as soon as I changed that, sounds like a little thing, but it was literally the difference from no traction to rocket ship. So I love that you brought up, we're looking for the little hinges that swing big doors. And sometimes no matter how intent we are in trying to find them ourselves, it's just not. We're human beings and we can't. So I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you referring Patrick as well.
Yeah.
And his videos that he's putting out there are pretty amazing. We'll get him lined up and dialed in. But I will end this recording, and then you and I can say, hey, and
yeah,
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
of course.
All right. Stop.